What is sustainable competitive advantage? According to the author of your textbook, sustainable competitive advantage is financial performance that consistently outperforms industry peers. Okay. So what does this mean? Each company competes in an industry. So we can have company 1, company 2, company 3. But all of these companies compete maybe in the same industry, like airlines. Okay. So these are your industry peers. They're your rivals. They're the companies that are offering the same product or service you are. Okay? So that's what we mean by industry peers. Now, financial performance can mean a lot of things. Are we talking about sales? Are we talking about market share? Are we talking about earnings? The scholars that put together this model from which sustainable competitive advantage is based have a very specific definition, and it is, let me get this, it's called the average return on invested capital. Okay. So when we're looking at the performance of your industry peers, we're talking about the average return on invested capital. Yeah. What that means is for the company you're looking at, if it's your company or another company you're analyzing, and for the industry that it's in, you're going to need to measure this. Okay, average return. This is called ROIC. Now, how do you calculate ROIC? We take earnings before interest and taxes, and we divide it by average invested capital and subtract excess cash. Okay. Now, you'd have to get all of this information from Standard & Poor's and CompuStat and company and do the math yourself if you were trying to do this type of analysis. But as a general rule, what we look at is we take a company's earnings before interest and taxes, subtract the amount of invested capital. That's how much money and resources they've invested into revenue generating assets, and then we subtract the excess cash that they have, and that gives us a feel for, okay, these are our earnings that were produced out of our investments, return on invested capital. We've invested in these buildings, manufacturing, equipment, processes, and now we've made those investments, and these are the earnings we're getting from those investments. It's our return on our invested capital. Okay. So the idea here is that with the same assets or the same level of asset investments, I can earn more than others in the same industry. Okay? That's sustainable competitive advantages. Over time, with the same level of investments in capital assets, I can earn more money than others in the same industry. That means I have a sustainable competitive advantage.